Welcome back to the SPL. Finch here. I'm joined by Taco, who's riding the desk for us all day long. A lot of analysis you've had to do, so good work there so far. Do also want to make sure I point out that Council of the Gods is still available. Make sure that y'all pick that bundle up. That Amma skin is no joke. I think it's Divine Beats.
Artemis, all the way. She's got a onesie on.
What?
That is definitely all me, dude. I love onesies.
I want the Amma that's rocking around, man. I love it. I'm all about it. So.
Well, fair respect, fair play, man.
Sure.
A lot of awesome skins involved in that
That's a good
Council of
point,
the Gods bundle.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong, is what we learned from that one. But we got plenty more SPL action coming y'all's way. We've got eUnited going against Trifecta here as this very next matchup. And eUnited have really impressed so far, right? I mean, IceIce came in. As soon as he rejoined, they looked good immediately. And Trifecta have had some troubles. What's standing out for you here with this set?
I think the big thing for me as far as eUnited is concerned is that I think that Vetium has definitely been a standout member for the squadron so far. That dual lane has definitely done numbers for eUnited in some of their sets so far, but they were cutting it a little bit close. I'm not going to lie. In that set against SK, it wasn't necessarily, you know, like eUnited were completely out of their, I guess, territory or familiarity, but it definitely felt like there were a decent amount of struggles with SK that I think Trifecta might be looking to try and exploit. IceIceBaby, probably for starters, is someone that you definitely want to shut down early on.
I think so too. Anything you can do to stop this guy from just running through your team is going to be helpful. But I'm so glad Tings was the next one that came up here because he's looked great as well. I think that every team Tings has been on, you can't. I don't think you can point to him and say that he's been the problem with him. He's such a consistent performer for you. I loved the Zhonghui we saw. The mechanics were clearly there for that too. So this is just a scary team to me from top to bottom. And another one that I think we're kind of sleeping on a bit. We'll see once they go up against those real top teams, but I think this team's for real.
No, Collis has definitely looked fantastic alongside of Vetium, and it's interesting because I wasn't too certain about how well that would necessarily pair up initially, but those two have wasted zero time together. They've definitely been very controlling in that duo lane, a lot of priority being given towards Vetium, I think. Oftentimes eUnited trying to secure their duo lane in those first couple of picks throughout the drafting phase. And I'm right there with you, Finch. I feel like there isn't a single member on this team that we couldn't just sit here and break down for a solid 10 minutes about how great of a player they are.
Yeah.
And Benji's an excellent one to highlight.
Yes, this is a tough matchup in the solo lane going up against this guy. I think he didn't miss a beat when he came in and started playing in the solo lane. And there's a lot of bruisers out there to worry about right now. Variety, Divios, ones that Deathwalker that you're thinking about. You're like, man, it is crowded over there. Fine OK now is in the conversation for being one of the hottest players in the world right now. So it's a crowded field, and Benji still stands out in it.
This is an uphill battle for sure for Trifecta.
Yes,
I think that
this matchup in particular.
Trifecta is a team that is still kind of trying to even find what their playstyle is as a team.
Right.
And when you're going up against teams like eUnited that already have such established members and are pretty much known, I think, for being lane bullies in their respective roles, outside of maybe BigManTingz. But like you said, Finch, Tings has a tendency to hold his own all the same. He feels like a very much plug-and-play type of mid laner.
Right. And
what I mean by that is that any sort of pick that you could think of, he would probably be willing to try out if eUnited asked him to.
I think so, and I know what you mean. Sometimes that can maybe seem a bit like an insult some, but I think that you're right. It's really one of the better comments that you can give is that I think Tings is the kind of player that really could fit into just about any environment and play just about whatever it is that you need. He approaches it open-minded. He's got a great attitude about always improving and making sure that he's playing for the team, and I think that's why you consistently see him doing well. Whatever team he's on, you're never like, well, Tings is the problem. You just don't feel that way.
No, if anything, Tings is the one trying to find solutions. I think the guy as a whole is just a very uplifting type of personality, and I think that is excellent when you're dealing with individuals like Vetium and Benji who can kind of, get a little bit saltier than most at times.
Used to be the salt machine over there, so, certainly not going off on a limb saying that one. But I think that you're right. This is a team that I think what they primarily are doing together is just having a good time playing Smite, and hopefully they can maintain that, right? Obviously, Ice and Collis in particular are very, very close for this team, so they already have some of that synergy standing by. But we already gassed him up enough, so we might as well hear from him. Sounds like my man, BigManTingz, is standing by for the interview.
All right, standing by with eUnited mid laner BigManTingz. Tings, you guys are settled here. This is your second week of competition, but how's it been living with the team and getting settled here in America?
I mean, it's been good. It's been a lot different than I would have thought, but it's been good. We've all been enjoying it. The only thing we don't like so far is the cockroaches. A lot different from Europe, but yeah, it's been really good. Been enjoying it so far.
Even moving from the northern part of the U.S., the cockroaches down here are something. They're something else.
Oh yeah, for sure. They need to be exterminated.
Retweet on that one. What have you seen from Trifecta that you think that you guys might be able to do pretty well against?
I don't think they have an individual carry per se. I think they rely on a team. So if we can just shut them down as a team per se, I think we can definitely take it home in 3-0 hopefully.
You guys are still haven't played that many sets, only 2-0 so far. We've seen other teams and what we kind of expect from them and their personalities so far. What would you say is eUnited's team identity? When you're clicking on all cylinders, are you an early game team fight team? What do you guys really excel at?
I feel like we're a team fight team at heart, I'd say, but we definitely like our aggression. Benji likes playing aggressive in solo, and we try to take fights around mid as much as possible. So we'll just have to see if that works out today.
What's been your favorite part about playing with these 4 other guys in particular?
It's just a lot different from what I'm used to. Obviously, all these 4 have come from like top teams. They've all made it to Worlds apart from me. So they've got a lot of experience that I maybe lacked over the years. So just taking it from them and seeing how we do.
It should be a pretty fun one. Tings, good luck, man. Hope it goes well in the mid lane for you. Let's throw it back to you guys on the desk.
Nice work there, Aggro, and good to hear from Tings. And that's almost exactly what we were talking about, right? Is that he recognizes he's on this team with some pretty big names, and he's there to sort of fill his part. So that's a good mentality, and it's going to make the job a lot harder for young man Lasbra across the way, right? For Trifecta, the mid laner new to that role who has to try and match up against him.
I like how Tings actually went ahead though and kind of just admitted to the fact that eUnited is aware of what they bring to the table. You know that you're going to have aggression coming out of Benji and your dual lane because Vetium also, I think, a little bit more prone to that aggressive style of play. So taking fights around mid lane. And with that in mind, now I think it's a little bit more on Trifecta and how much homework they've actually been able to do. But I really want to see, I think, weaken on some of the more aggressive picks like the Ratatosker if possible. I mean, there's always never a guarantee that players are going to get certain picks, especially one like Rat. But we've already seen Weekend kind of leaning a little bit more towards the gods like the Arachne, like the Ratatosker, and I think that that's a good look for Trifecta. It's easy setup, it's easy utility, and I think it also helps give Ducky a little bit more leeway to try and punish the backline.
Exactly. Anything they can do to free up some space for Ducky would be a big help for him because he's got a real difficult matchup, right? He's up against Benji, and Benji's the kind of guy that if you're not quite at his level, he's going to make sure that it's seen, that he gets whatever he wants in that lane. So if they can make life easier for him, that's going to be much needed because few are on the same level as Benji. It's not an insult to say you're further away from him, but it's not the only place, right? They've got Eonic and Wowy that need to look out over there in the duo lane if Collis and Vetium are aggression. It's difficult for Trifecta everywhere here, and they're going to need to hold on to that team identity.
I think that Trifecta have also just been a little bit different in comparison to some of the other teams in terms of what they like to run overall. A lot of their drafts, I think, have been leaning more towards the side of comfort picks, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes a comfort pick can turn out to be a little bit better than something that might be viewed as high priority in the current meta, but isn't necessarily a strong pick for that individual player. And I think that this is where we can kind of target Lasbra a little bit harder and put him a little bit more underneath the microscope because Lasbra is the rookie here to the mid lane, and I think going up against BigManTingz will actually pose for a fairly interesting challenge because it's going to help Lasbra, I think, identify more of what type of playstyle he prefers to run, whether it be the burst type of mages or utility. That's
right, and BigManTingz is the kind of person that if he realizes that there's some weakness there, he'll definitely punish it, so they got to be careful, but glad you got a chance to see Lasbra poking his head in as well. I think it's his birthday or very near his birthday, so get some good wishes to him. Hopefully things can look good for him at this time of year for him. But we actually have Eonic standing by, so we'll be able to get over there to the interview to hear from him.
All right, standing by with Trifecta support, Eonic. Eonic, the team hasn't gotten off to the start that I'm sure you guys wanted to, but how has the last few weeks of prep really set you up for today's games?
I mean, we've been improving so much week to week, I think, like just from the first week, I mean, especially till now, so I think we have some high expectations for this set.
Especially because I hear it's Lasbra's birthday, right? I mean, you got to do pretty well for him and set him up for a good birthday, right?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get a celebration in. I mean, we do have another game tomorrow, so we can't go too hard, but have a nice dinner tonight.
Nice and easy celebration for him tonight. Talk to me about your newest addition, Coach K, to the roster here. I mean, first of all, great name for a coach in my mind, but what has he brought to the roster so far?
I mean, I don't think I've ever had a coach that works so hard. Like, he works so hard. Like, he preps us so well. I think honestly, I think we'd be pretty lost without him. Like, he has helped us so much with picks and bans, with our strategies and stuff, so I'm really, really happy with him.
eUnited only played 2 sets so far. They've looked pretty good in both. What were some of the things that stood out to you when taking a look at their video?
I think eUnited, I mean, they're a pretty standard team, so, I mean, I think we have a few, things to mix it up against them, and we'll see how it goes.
Raptors doing pretty well in the playoffs so far?
I mean, it's a 4-0 sweep against the Sixers. We'll see.
Easy for the Six Gods. Yannick, good luck, man, and throw it back to you guys on the desk.
Yeah, only aggro, a fool, would take a bet up against that. What an idiot.
Hey, that's all between you guys, all right? You have done an aggro. I mean, I rely on you as my source of sports knowledge.
Sure. But very good stuff there aside from the Raptors thing, especially getting to hear about Coach Cassian and the impact that he's been able to have for them behind the scenes. Because I think that is what Trifecta needs more than anything, is that outside voice with a global view that can help direct them. Because we saw from their play that they've got plenty of talent. Lasbra, that's the reason they put him in that middle lane. They trust his mechanical skill to adapt. Eonic has looked good. Wowy took some big fights as well in the 1v1. I mean, they've got the skill.
I think Kazuya will be a perfect fit for this team because, like you mentioned, Finch, he's got the global perspective, but more importantly, I think that he's just going to be somebody who helps keep the team level-headed.
Right.
And I think that Trifecta definitely need that because they always want to run wacky stuff in their picks and bans, and the drafting can definitely get a little bit awry at times with this team, but Cassier, I think, is going to be that voice of reason to kind of draw it all in together.
That's right. Yeah, you can have those weirder picks, but make sure that you're doing them, for the right reasons maybe, or in the right spot. So hopefully he's the one that can help him with that. But let's start getting ready for game number 1. The picks and bans should be ready here for you in just a few seconds. Taco, this phase has been so important, and it always has been. Certainly that's we don't want to say it has been important, but it feels like really here in Season 6, because you can be kind of forced into a tough spot in second pick, that these picks and bans can dictate so much of the game.
Well, surprisingly enough, it's going to be eUnited taking that Freya away from themselves and Trifecta. Wowy, no foreigner to the Freya play.
Or that flannel.
If possible. No, that's his good luck flannel.
Exactly.
You can't be hating on a man's good luck charms. I don't blame him, man. Hey, every player's got their thing. But for Wowy, it's his good luck jacket.
That's right. He's got that rockin' form, and then the Trifecta jersey right underneath as Shibalanke banned away from Trifecta. So now interesting, the second ban can only ban one more thing. That means Merlin might make it through. King Arthur is one they're almost certainly going to have to ban. So now eUnited almost get their choice of by not banning it here, and then seeing what Trifecta do, they'll get to take whatever's left over on the back end as they get rid of the rat that you already highlighted being a good pick for weekend.
It is so much fun, though, watching the differences in between sets based on which teams are going up against the other, because these players, while some of them might be a little bit newer to the SPL, they're not necessarily new to each other as a whole.
Right.
A lot of these guys have been playing together for a really long time or watching each other for a really long time. And the King Arthur challenging Benji to rise to the occasion, I think. And eUnited are not going to even hesitate. They take that King Arthur in a heartbeat. But that leads me to believe that Trifecta have got to have some kind of response, whether it be the Kamazots alongside of a hyper-aggressive jungler. But Ducky's definitely got his work cut out for him this game.
It was the man you just saw on your screen a moment ago, young man Ducky, that must rise to this challenge, and it looks like it'll be with the Kamazots. At least that's what's being hovered here. And like you said, they came into this game prepped. They must have a strategy for it. We have seen some teams look for early pressure on that solo side, like you're highlighting just now, to keep this King Arthur from really getting too far ahead, especially right before he gets that Glad Shield. There's a small window. You can get in there and try and set him a little bit behind. But that's Benji, man. It's just, that's a tall task trying to take Benji down.
It's gonna take a bit, but I think Trifecta can certainly get there, and Terra is going to be a huge beneficial asset to bringing down this King Arthur. I think normally we're accustomed to seeing the Artios and the Kamazatzes, but I like Terra because of the Terra's Blessing. It's an effective method, I think, for punishing the King Arthur if he tries to go a little bit too deep, because oftentimes we do see King Arthurs looking to exploit the backline through all of their sustain and kind of just heckle the carries, but if you have a Terra that's able to just press 4, then that King Arthur's not going to last for a whole long time with those carries.
No, you're right. There's a little bit of extra burst that you can get from popping those stones, some sustain for your own side to help out. So you're right. That is a nice win for you to try and slow down King Arthur when he dives. eUnited round out their first half, though, with the Raijin and the Fafnir. They hovered on the Jormungandr for a moment. I thought they might be picking that guy up, but BigManTingz has really liked this Raijin. No surprise for me to see him locking this pick in.
It's going to put a lot of pressure onto Lasbra now to decide what he wants to take to match up with that Raijin. Early game clear, I think, certainly a little bit more favorable towards the Percussive Storm and the Raichu, going to provide some important slows, I think. But United looking kind of beefy with this Fafnir King Arthur. And the other issue that I'm noticing for Trifecta, although they've done a decent job responding with the Circuit, is the fact that United are just so open-ended here as far as what they want to take for their 4th and 5th picks bans. I'm thinking maybe we see the possibility of a ROM for Vetium, possibly even a Hachiman, just kind of buckle down on that attack speed stim.
And try and synergize a little bit more with that Fafnir. But ironically, it's them themselves that ban away the Hachiman, so maybe that's not quite the path they want to go. We'll have to see. As a Wheelish gets banned away from Trifecta, they're worried that that would be like an early game jungler that would come through for Ice and kind of push and kind of pressure them out. So I think that's what they're recognizing, that they haven't picked for Ice just yet, very likely, and that they still have a chance to maybe lock down some of those early pressure junglers from him.
It's really just the carries, though, that are left to be determined here between both of these teams. Trifecta still not revealing what their mid lane or ADC is going to be looking like. And with that Hachiman having been taken away, maybe even a Jing Wei ban for eUnited, keep Trifecta off of those safe laning hunters.
It's Discordia, who is a safe mid laner, and that's good too. If the Camazotz can get, well, very likely will get it over there in the solo lane, that passive, that's one more thing that can enable him to box with the King Arthur. Maybe they're trying to take that off the table.
Lasbra has looked his best on the Discordia, I think, and it's a smart pick to keep away from him, because if you're trying to make Lasbra uncomfortable and if you're trying to focus Trifecta, BigManTingz said it himself, we want to take as many fights as possible around the mid lane, so anything that could throw Lasbra off is going to bode well for United.
Well, a bit of a comfort pick, perhaps, then being taken away from young Lasbra, who recently has got a little bit older, maybe even a little bit wiser. We'll see if that helps out Trifecta as they're considering what they want to go with their next pick. And as you already highlighted, they're trying to decide right now what they want to get for their carries. Muzen Comp comes in, and based on what we saw in set 1, that's still a bit of a flex pick. That could still go mid or hunter. I think it was Herwin that we saw play this one in mid a couple times.
I really want to see an Agni, man. I can't stress it enough. I think that Agni would also fit in fairly well for Trifecta or eUnited. But I think that eUnited also maybe, since they've got the Raijin already, they're probably just a little bit more focused on trying to solidify a jungler for themselves. Circuit provides a lot of backline opportunities, I think, for Trifecta. Some of that dive capability as well, because the Camazotz is also there to threaten eUnited's backline. I like the idea of a possible Raven or maybe even a Nemesis to try and counteract the Terra before she can get that Terra's Blessing off. If they're able to just track her down with a Nemesis, that could pose some serious issues for her.
Yeah, throw off her timing maybe and not let her, sort of get to the position in the fight that she wants to. Finmer is someone that can do that too, as that's being highlighted now by eUnited. They still haven't decided what it is they want to give over to Ice, and this likely could be then for him. But they're hovering through the selections. They haven't nailed it down just yet where they want to go. Bakasura certainly could be a strong pick in its own right as well, as the ROM you highlighted is being hovered now for Vetium.
ROM just has so much attack speed alone because of his second ability. It doesn't hurt when there's a Fafnir alongside of you as well, and that Bakasura getting locked in only means that ROM has to be the option here. eUnited, they're looking to just capitalize off any of the slightest misplays from Trifecta, and that's something that I think eUnited can afford to do here, because Trifecta being, I think, one of the more undervalued teams right now in the SPL, they're, like I said, still trying to find their voice in competitive play. And I think that if eUnited can just hurt Trifecta by just beating them down the second that they get one pick, that could cause a lot of issues and possibly even some hesitation for Trifecta in their team fighting decisions.
Love to see them doubling down the attack speed as well. It doesn't have to be double Hunter to benefit from having this FAF near the AoE cores. Bakasura is one that could certainly use a little bit extra help as well as Wowy laugh a little bit. It's a good thing we're zooming in on him because it might be his pick yet that's still to come, depending on how exactly Trifecta want to play this. Though, some nice mage damage certainly wouldn't hurt here.
Well, having the Amu's and Kaldo for Wowy against a Bakasura is not fun.
No.
If IceIceBaby wants to make Wowy's life a living hell, he most certainly can accomplish that, and that's why I think the Trifecta are looking to try and put a heavy pressure pick inside of the middle lane, divert some of the attention that might have been applied to duo lane and get it on over into that mid lane instead. But if they go for the new Wa, I got a lot of concerns now for Trifecta because they've got pressure from solo possibly, depending on how well Weekend and Ducky can work alongside of each other to tackle this King Arthur. But mid and duo are definitely, I think, in a questionable position as to how well those laning phases are going to go.
Remember, we saw the Nuwa earlier today do a good job helping to seal those kills on the solo side of the map. So if the idea is maybe to have Cirquette, Lasbra, so King Arthur can't sustain, and Camazot's pressure, and Nuwa's at finishing blow, then maybe that's the idea. The question is she going to be comfortable enough getting away from this Bakasura to be able to help with fire shards?
It feels like a very heavy execution style of play for Trifecta, and if they're feeling up to it, who knows? I mean, this could just be perfectly synced up abilities,
right,
and Trifecta are able to just tackle all of these team fights.
If they're able to execute everything perfectly, you're right. It's a big if, and a lot now on the shoulders of Trifecta if they want to take down the King and the rest of eUnited. But we'll delay you no longer. Let's go and get everything over to the casters. Should be Tom and Toli standing by.
It should be and it will be. Game number 1 for eUnited and Trifecta across the way. They're both the red, white, and blue, but one of the teams will come out on top. You heard the analysts. Trifecta certainly the undercard here. But I like what they did in picks and bans, Toli. A lot of people auto-ban that King Arthur.
Yes.
But instead they let it go through because I think the Shibalanke shuts down team fights and communication a little bit more, and that's what Trifecta need to kind of lean on.
They kind of need to lean on a little bit on the Camazots as well. Camazots or no Camazots, giving Benji the King Arthur is a little scary. So despite the red, white, and blue colors that both these teams share, a little opposite in terms of the scorelines where Trifecta struggled against SK and Space Station Gaming, whereas eUnited, they found their victories up against LG and SK.
I'll always laugh at that Trifecta intro screen with Ducky kind of looking up at his teammates. Weekend and Lasbra, 2 of the taller guys in the league. If you want more stats that don't matter on the battlefield, feel free to ask me later.
Ducky's also one of the shorter ones in the league as well, so you got 2 polar opposites there. But they have good synergy between the solo jungle side. I'm curious to see how Weekend is going to lean on the solo lane, because you know for a fact any Arthur versus Camazots matchup is going to be aggressive, and Weekend based his career off of assisting solo lane pressure when he used to be with Cyclone Spin back in the AFK days and the M&M days as well.
Well, Yannick, being about as annoying as Melior Mariah was to say, he's going to go ahead and steal the speed buff away from IceIceBaby, going back to that harass the jungler strat that I honestly thought would go away once we saw the change to the dual lane with the Spirit Minion. But Trifecta kind of sticking to this and looking for not only the speed buff invade, but also looking for and getting the blue buff invade.
Wow. Very important to strip away the blue buff from a King Arthur that relies so heavily on this. And I think the success from Eonic's invade only works out in a world where IceIceBaby doesn't go for eat minion. He opted for the jump instead. Makes sense.
Which most players do.
It gives the AoE damage off and the lowers the physical protection. So once you hit the little small minions, you kill them, you're building the attack speed. So in theory, you're actually probably killing the camp faster by getting your jump. But it's just a little less secure when you're getting contested. When Season 6 SPL started, there were so many teams that introduced this aggressive support meta. So if you're not constantly keeping that in the back of your mind, you might run into a situation where IceIceBaby just got exploited.
As I said, that's what you're looking for when you're seeing these new strategies come out. But what I like what Trifecta does here, it's a best of 5, so this first game, you do get that sort of cheeky play. You're able to go ahead and kind of take advantage. IceIceBaby didn't start Eat Minion, but he certainly takes it there. Was able to successfully invade the blue.
It allows Benji now to pick it up and keep up with the harassment that Ducky
Can he
and
though? Is he going to
Eonic.
be able to get up there?
I think he could clear the wave, but IceIceBaby is not really here to help him clear the wave. He's a little afraid of this potential poke, and that's going to allow Trifecta now the pressure to go for their first totem of coup.
Benji pushed under the tower, and IceIce heading all the way back to base.
There was a moment where he could have picked up the blue, but IceIceBaby just delayed a little bit too long. Would rather just sit back and farm as long as possible. Make sure he doesn't miss a single second on the speed buff respawn.
Just saying hi to the dual lane over there, likely not to visit there often. Vetium, Wowy, late game hunters. We'll see him later. Benji we'll see right now as Eonic still has yet to go find himself in the dual lane. So perhaps we just call it the long side for now, because Eonic's hunter Wowy has been solo the entire time.
Sacrificing purple for blue buff, not a bad idea when you're dealing with an aggressive 1v1. And speaking of aggression, with a rotation from BigManTingz, it's going to be trouble for Yannick if he gets caught out.
He's already run away. He's only level 2 as well. Certainly a big part of this conversation. Kylas deals with Lasbra mid to make sure that he can't follow the mid lane rotation from BigManTingz, who is looking to punish Eonic. Nice cover from Kylas to sort of shift over the team and make sure there's no hole left open for the opponent to walk right on through.
This time Benji does secure his blue buff, and with the purple buff invades coming out of eUnited, that's a good look to try to keep Wowy a little bit in check any way that they can. A Rama versus the Amus and Cobb matchup. It's going to be very volatile between these two players, as they're one's trying to rush off the Transcendence for Wowy, also going for the Mage's Blessing, trying to allow all his abilities to deal extra damage, whereas I'm expecting Vetium to go for the more standard Hunter build. Go for the Devil Gloves. He got his Hunter's Blessing already, so he's looking to be that auto-attack Hunter that we expect from Rom, especially when Kylas is playing his signature Fafnir.
Rom doesn't really have any other options, to be honest with you. I don't think that there's an ability-based build out there. Sure, shoutouts to you guys building Transcendence, Shifter Shield, and hitting 700 damage ults.
I think back in the day, Suntouch used to do it.
Oh,
way back in the day.
I don't do anything Suntouch does. Vetium, on the other hand, certainly just going to look for the basic attack build. That's all Rom really brings to the table. Wowy across the way can certainly do different things. Amusing Cobb is very interesting, totally, because the totem, or excuse me, the pillar,
the little hive,
the hive. There's the word. You know, the stick.
I got you. the stick,
the hive. That
I'm gonna call it the stick from this cast.
It's a little tiki torch, man.
Sure.
The hive that he puts down encourages you to be basic attack oriented, but the burst potential of Stinger Swarm basic attack is insane. So Amusing Cobb can kind of, play different sides of the field, whereas Vetium forced into this playstyle
I gotta
by the
ask
choice. Okay, shoot.
Is it the stick or the stick?
What's up?
Jeff Dunham?
That is a bad comedian.
I'm just saying.
Do you like puppets?
That was his shtick.
Lasbra getting in trouble, goes to the sky, exactly why we see the nuance selection. But she'll land a stun, not good enough. She gets out! She gets out!
Spreads.
She gets out! The big fog gets Lasbra out of there by an inch. Weekend and the boys show up and punish the Dubleyoon for Weekend in the jungle. And that right there is why Nuwa is selected into gods like Bakasura, because she could literally leave the playfield.
Even though Fire Shards this early in the game doesn't do enough damage, it could allow your other teammates the time that they need to do the damage, accelerating the last breath from Weekend's ultimate to give it the spread ability is just what enabled that 2v2 to go for Trifecta's way. The ultimate from BigManTingz, he kind of really jumped the gun, I feel, by wasting one of those shots onto Weekend. I think if he holds that one shot and actually uses it onto Lasbra, at least they get one return kill, but I still expect both of them to die anyway.
It's certainly rough there. What a beautiful, just again, Lasbra going up, understanding that his teammates are going to be able to respond. Nice teamwork there by Trifecta. Turns around the first blood play, puts it in their favor, and then some. A 1,200 gold lead wave to wave here for Trifecta in the early moments of game number 1.
Well, to be fair to Lasbra, I don't think he has any other option besides to go in that ultimate. He needs to not only wait for his teammates, but also just kind of evaluate the situation.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of other aerial ultimates, like Freya, for example, Jingwei, where you can use that hang time to kind of see where you can land, how you can re-engage.
Rom probably the most storied. You go up in the ROM ult. You
Yeah.
go, where my team at? Where my team at? There you go. Okay, now my team can help. And that's pretty much what we see at a nuance. She just goes up. She looks around. And her teammates are right there underneath her.
Rom's a special case, though, because you can cancel the ultimate early.
Sure.
You can't cancel the new ultimate early. That would be interesting if you could, to deal a little bit less damage. But that's what makes it so unique also for Vetium, is how he can play this Rom with the Astral Barrage. He can, if he gets in a sticky situation in a 1v2, he can either just deal as much damage as he wants, or he can kind of do the fake, where he gets off 2 shots, doesn't even go for the third, cancels it, hopes for a potential roll away, or maybe just a straight up cancel. Sometimes some players will go straight up into the ROM ultimate, don't even fire anything, and just straight cancel the ultimate juke.
The ultimate up down. Trifecta hiding around the corner. They don't have the numbers, but they're certainly going to look for it. Bad zigzag at a weekend. He'll jump up north. Collis now looking for the control as Eonic gets 2 players in the route. But ultimately, it's all for naught. The right side Harpies go to Trifecta. They get Eonic's ultimate, though. So a little bit of a win for eUnited, but they're losing out in the farm game.
As long as they can get something from the wasted Eonic ultimate, and that something is going to be for Trifecta if they can find this kill.
Benji goes down. Lasbra with the last hit. Big damage coming out of Weekend and Ducky on the side lane gank. And then just a little excited Lasbra gets the kill with the ultimate.
It doesn't matter if it's Season 2 or Season 6. Weekend's identity to gank solo lane still never seems to stop amazing me. The aggressive Camazotz versus Arthur matchup getting exploited, and because of Yannick ganking IceIceBaby at level 1, that slows down the momentum from eUnited's jungler to make any sort of impact in that solo lane.
Benji also couldn't heal off of the Glad Shield because of the ultimate coming out from Weekend. Really nice stuff there for the guys on Trifecta, understanding just when you look at this and you go, man, Trifecta have an uphill battle against United, and they're going to let Arthur through? What are they thinking? But Ducky's played this lane really well. Weekend has assisted. Lasbra coming through with some damage across the way as well. I got to say, when you look at characters and situations and metas, right, Toli, you're often like, well, you know, how long will it take us to learn, or is the god just kind of in a bad spot? But Trifecta here kind of figuring out the King Arthur. Gank him a little bit, get some sustain a little bit, get some anti-heal a little bit. They've kind of figured this out.
Strip away his blue a little bit with the Onyx rotation.
Just, you know, pay attention to him the entire game.
Yeah, pretty much, right? But that could be a scary thing, because on the opposite end of the battlefield, you got to worry about Vetium now,
sure,
right? Because he's playing this late game ROM. He's taking some purple buffs away from Wowy, just now hitting the level 10 marker, matching up with Wowy's and Moose and Cop. Still a little bit delayed in terms of stacking, where Wowy wanted to rush that item. Has the mobility, whereas Vetium's still yet to complete it. So it's going to be quite a while before he gets his power spike that would be ideal for team fighting, whereas Callus is still lingering around the mid lane. He's been engaging quite heavily to set up the damage for BigManTingz, but it hasn't resulted in any kills quite yet. It's up to BigMan to, once he finishes off that penetration item, Spear of the Magus is what I'm assuming is going to be his next item, that Ryzen damage is going to really start showing.
Yeah, Spear of the Magus likely to come up next. Would love to see that. Penetration at a premium here from Aegis in Season 6. Eonic, level 8 now. So he found himself down 2, almost 3 levels in the beginning of the game because he didn't really do anything. He just sat there annoying the opposition in their jungle. But able to quickly catch back up, so really not too big of a deal. And I think that's a win for Trifecta. Not only do they get some of the early game, they get a little bit of a follow-up lead. And now at 11 minutes here, Anatoly, Trifecta significantly just confirmed at their 1,500 gold lead.
And I don't mind Yannick being under-leveled because of what he was able to do to IceIceBaby. Right. The whole idea of support is you're going to be the lowest level in the game. It's actually crazy.
He's ahead. He's ahead by maybe a minion or two, but he's ahead.
It might be because of some of the blue buffs as well.
That's true.
Some of the shared waves on top of Ducky. Ducky's also level 11 compared to Benji, so not much has been lost, because normally when you're sharing waves as a solo or a dual laner, you're kind of going to be behind the person that's not been sharing waves. But as a result of a couple of these buffs, both
kills,
both solo support have been getting it on.
Well, Yannick's certainly going to get on. Everybody just jumped right on him. Unceremonious kill for eUnited as they find themselves on the battle board for the first time this game. Nice job so far. Meanwhile, left side, Wowy gets jumped on by Collis. Stunned out, Vetium's here, and Wowy's not! Collis with some big boy damage, lining up his carry, and letting the rest be seen. 12 minutes, 2 kills for eUnited. But it just seems like now's when they turned everything on, Toli. 2 kills in 1 minute.
That was important to find these 2 kills, being down a little bit, now catching up in the experience and gold department. IceIceBaby in a little bit of a 1v2, eating the fire shards and the last breath. Has assistance with Benji,
Nice
just his zone. Gotta watch out for Ducky on the backside. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Wowy. Delaying those beats. Really surprised there as Callus trying to pop something off onto Lasbra. Don't think it's going to amount to much, but the delayed beats from Wowy specifically, when you're getting jumped on by a Fafnir that's in dragon form, you're going to have to expect the hammer stun after the fact. And that also allowed the timing window for Vetium to make that important rotation for the cleanup.
Yeah, real clean play there from Callus. And for Wowy, it's one of those things where, well, I guess I don't have to beat. It's just him. Oh, no, his teammate. And, and you know, that very human moment really comes through, so...
And then touching upon Yannick's death, once you get crippled by IceIceBaby, surrounded by 2 players, as a Terra specifically, you're just dead.
Like I said, unceremonious. There's 3 guys beating up a Terra with her dash down in the mid lane.
Level 9.
Sorry, folks. I'm not going to get too excited about that one.
And I think the timing was very perfect to kill Yannick because he was still sitting on the tier 2 Gauntlet of Thebes. He finished it upon his revival. And because of that one little death, look at the experience difference between the 2 supports. Now Callus a level ahead. He should be able to finish off his 2nd relic a little earlier. Might be a power spike play for eUnited with 10 relics.
The return to the Gauntlet of Thebes, which is very interesting because the reason we walked away from Gauntlet of Thebes was the lack of stackability. A lot of our supports found themselves rotating early and often. That kept them out of the lane, which kept them away from the stackable situation. We saw players move away from this item for a long time and then come back to it once sieging started to become a thing. But it was a last pick item. Raffer kind of led the charge and said, well, if we're going to kill waves in front of a Phoenix for 12 minutes every game, I might as well buy Gauntlet of Thebes at 50. So it all started to make sense. Then again, we saw players walk away from it, and here we see it repurchased in the early game one more time. And that sort of, flow is very interesting. Callus likely to die here. Blows the transformation, and Wowy finds the last hit. Now it's the all-out fight on the left-hand side. Trifecta with the numbers, but Ram in the sky, cutting Wowy down. Hits 2 shots, misses the 3rd. Weakens here, looking for the taunt. Gets it with the last breath. IceIceBaby goes down. It's a 2 for none. Trifecta out of nowhere are playing strongly, extremely well. Excuse me. Trying to combine extremely and strongly.
I've done that before plenty of times as well. Now being rewarded with a Gold Fury. No Astral Barrage available for Vetium. Having to pull the Gold Fury a little bit further away. And this new space control really starting to show off in these little tight corridor battles. Callus a little bit too overzealous, trying to initially poke out Wowy. Jumping in, misses the stun against a very mobile Musincob, utilizing the stick for the extra movement speed, but without that escape now, he was a sitting duck to the Nuon damage, to Wowy's damage. Even the Draconic form couldn't really get him out, knowing that the Stinger was going to be the last nail in the coffin. And then kind of a forced fight from eUnited after the fact. They're like, okay, Stinger's down. Nuon cooldowns are not available for a little bit. Let's try to force something. But IceIceBaby really getting punished out by Weaken's rotation. That last breath and the fire shards is really starting to show its strength now at the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, you can see the itemization coming online. Some power in pen, some power and cooldown and mana, and some just raw power. 130 on the Soul Reaver alone. So Lasbra certainly looking for that just big boy hits.
And considering that IceIceBaby is a little bit behind on the Bakasura, it's a little worrisome if you're an eUnited fan, as Bakasura needs momentum to be a little useful. I'm not sold that he's going to be completely useless, considering that the cripple is a big deal against Sarkett, against also the Terra.
Weaken one more time on the right side, hits Benji with a taunt, shoves him into the tower. No heals for him. Lasbra combines with some help. The rest of eUnited is here, but it's a little too late. Ducky has already taken Benji to the Shadow Realm, and IceIce gets poked out. Stun from Eonic is good. Ducky's here. Dots are good. Bats are better. Double kill for the Duckman on the Batman. Callus in trouble. Half HP jumped on. but the tank won't be followed up. Another 2-for-none Trifecta with an strongly impressive fight on the right side, right after the left side.
Weekend 3, 0-4, a part of all 7 of Trifecta's kills, have been making a statement in the first game of this best-of-5 set, trying to really prove the value of this circuit.
Yo, where'd this team come from? Being just a moment of real talk, if you would let me. This was the only team that really looked bad. Luminosity Gaming was projected to not be so strong, but they still had some impressive moments. Trifecta in the past, we're in week number 5. For the first 4 weeks of this split, of this season, did not look strong totally. And, you know, I spoke to Shook, and he said, the owner of Trifecta, the CEO, and he said, listen, you know, it takes a little while for our rosters to usually get online. Well, week number 5. Sure, just one game, just 17 minutes of one game. But this is a very different team than I think we've seen in the past.
I agree. Especially after they lost 0-3 to SK without winning a single game. They almost took a win against SSG, so you can see signs of improvement between the SK set and this set. So that was a big synergy boost, I think, for them to even find victories up against Space Station Gaming.
Sort of 3-0'd, and let's be honest, that was for 3 very quick games.
Oh, yes.
The last one was, I think, 19 or 20 minutes.
It was not pretty for
Very quick. And then, like you said, they play against SSG, and they ultimately lose the set, but Trifecta are able to bite back a little bit here and there, learning from, like, VOD review, etc.
Yes, and now up against eUnited as well. There's plenty of VOD review to go up against eUnited's side of things. They showed that they were able to bleed against LG, losing 1 game. They were able to lose 2 games against SK. So eUnited is still the stronger team on paper without losing a single set. But it's not as though Trifecta can be counted out. They still have SPL caliber players. Ducky, Weekend, Lasbra's been playing in the SML forever.
I mean, slash lines and paperwork only matter so much. I want to see these weekend ganks in the game. That's what matters.
And that's what their synergy kind of comes in line. You have to find out what works for you. And so far, Trifecta's strategy of Eonic being a nuisance has been working out.
Benji looking for the all-deep fight, separating himself from the rest of the squad. Nuwa goes to the sky, looking to poke some down as BigManTingz finds himself relatively low. A non-fight here for both teams. Benji kind of forced an engagement that his team wasn't ready to follow up on, but luckily for him, he was tanky enough, and the enemy team wasn't really ready for the jump in anyway. Tier 1 tower under duress as Trifecta focus on the structure.
That shell from Callus saving the life from IceIceBaby. The double wombo combo ultimate's not enough this time around, but it's a level 15 Circuit, it's a level 17 Nuwa with about 3.5 items complete. That damage is not going to be negated by the shell in a couple of minutes from now.
I like the timing here coming out from Trifecta. A couple of seconds too early, though. And so they're unable to just walk into the Oni and grab it right after the Tier 1 tower. But that Tier 1 tower being gone does make the Oni Fury easier to go for.
Yeah, and this Oni Fury going to be important for both teams to try to stop, for eUnited rather to stop, as Trifecta have the advantage to actually go for it. And at this stage of the game, with that Tier 1 tower very low in the mid lane, those Oni minions are enough to take it in its own right if left unchecked.
20 minutes in here, and Trifecta have the lead. A small one, but an impressive one considering their short history in the SPL the past 4 weeks. 3,000 gold in the lead for the red team. Can't say the red, white, and blue. And they're going to be controlling the Oni Fury at the moment. 40% on the objective so far. Callus and IceIce are here, but Weekend lurking right behind them. 10% on the Oni, and it looks like Trifecta are confused. Not sure to keep it or leash it. Keep it or leash it. Looks like they're going to leash it and find the team fight after the fact. Nope, they're going to go right back to it. IceIceBaby up top. Trifecta confirm, and Callus looking for the burn. Transformed into the dragon. Lasbra goes up top. Eonic dashing to the right-hand side will separate one from the team fight. No more IceIceBaby, but eUnited on the run. Beautiful stun coming out from the support. Eonic lining his team up, setting Ducky up for success. BigManTingz bites back and takes down Weekend. A 1-for-1, a 1-for-2. How do you do? Wowy takes another one. Oni and 2 kills for Trifecta.
Weekend with the patient flank underneath, blinking into the backline, sacrificing himself for the greater good. Callus falls early as a victim, but Vetium forced to go into the Astral Barrage. It was kind of like leading a pack of sheep to their demise, it felt like, through the corridor into the mid lane, and that's exactly how Trifecta led this, with baiting out that Oni Fury for that long. eUnited staggered in terms of what they wanted to do. They did poke out Ducky a little bit to the point where he had to go use that Bat Out of Hell early in a team fight, probably earlier than he would have wanted to.
Right.
So that was a success for United, but they didn't expect Trifecta to go back onto the Oni Fury. And then by the time they did, it was too separated of the team fight. IceIceBaby too far forward, everyone else too far back. The Terra's Earth and Fury was doing a good job mitigating that damage from the Bakasura, and that allowed Trifecta to really just turn and burn once they got their cooldowns back.
There was a moment of indecision that eUnited might have been able to punish, but Trifecta kind of cleaned it up and looked really impressive with their final confirm. There was a period during that 15% where I was like, oh no, man.
Scary.
One play, that was clearly 2 calls in the headset. And then, it's funny kind of watching it, because you watch that team fight, and there's clearly 2 calls in the headset. Stick to it and leave. And then somebody goes, shut up and do this, because they all at one point turn and take care of it. And maybe they were a little bit nicer. That's how I am in comms, at least. Find me in the silver round. But Trifecta coming together as a team and pushing their lead. 5K up against eUnited. 6 kills as well. The tier 1 tower in mid, gone. The tier 1 tower on the right, gone. Tier 1 tower on the left, basically gone. The Oni Fury has gone their way. The Gold Fury has gone their way. The Pyromancer has gone their way. Trifecta trying to make this a Millhouse day. Yannick controlled, and he's been a big part of what's allowed Trifecta to be successful. But eUnited dump a mid lane mage ultimate.
Very forceful.
That's a big deal, the fact that BigManTingz doesn't have the drums of war.
And even the blink from Benji trying to keep the chain CC going onto Eonic. I think the key element in not locking down this Terra was the lack of IceIceBaby's ultimate. It was still on cooldown as he had to use it defensively just to get away from Weekend. And that was a funny interaction where Weekend actually used that ultimate, and it caught a little minion before they started sieging that tier 1 tower on the right side.
So if you look at the build coming out from Eonic, I think this is really interesting. He just picked up the Ward Stone. So he had Tank Boots, Thebes, and Sav. And eUnited jump on him with King Arthur, or excuse me, they jump on him with King Arthur, they jump on him with a Raijin ultimate, some other damage, and he doesn't die. So he goes back to base and goes, well, I guess I'm tanky enough, boys. Here comes a Void Stone.
And that's normally built by your Guardian Soul Laner, not necessarily your support. So that's why I'm loving this pickup.
Well, again, it's how if they can't kill me with all their stuff, I'm tanky.
A lot of it came down to the lack of anti-healing. BigManTingz does have Divine Ruin, but he didn't apply the stacks during the initial first wave of damage before the heal pop from Eonic. So that was a full benefit heal, not enough damage from eUnited to lock down the support. And this is what makes Terra scary. It's like it all of a sudden cripples your damage with the ultimate by lowering
it's Bakasura with the cripple.
True. You're not wrong. But also, keep in mind, Eonic didn't even have to use either of his relics between the Horrific Emblem or the Shell.
Which is probably the most telling, as I'm sorry for poop posting in the middle of your cast there, Tully. But I think that's the most telling. The fact that Eonic just, okay, I'm good. No Shell, no Horrific. Just backs to base and goes, you know what, I'm buying a Void Stone. I'm tanky enough. And it might come back to haunt him once everybody's kind of full build and a different... But for now, I think the extra damage from Terra is always welcome. And if you don't believe me, ask any of these solo laners that play her.
It also has a little bit of health, so it could keep him alive against some of these
It's a hybrid item for sure. You know, he's not out here buying Soul Reaver.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he does pick that up, especially if Trifecta can keep up this momentum. They're at 5,000 gold. Now, granted, it's at the 26-minute mark, so that 5,000 gold lead, not the most impactful as it could be if that was 10 minutes earlier.
I still think the 5,000 gold lead is relevant.
It's getting up to a point where they can force these objectives.
Primal Fury going to go down to Trifecta as they start it. eUnited trying to stop it, but it's a little too late. Eonic is not as tanky as he'd like to be, but he still has 0 HP. Benji with the long-range frost shot. Nice job. IceIce has to jump away. Kalas has to jump away. Trifecta kept at a distance by Benji. This is a great play by the solo laner. And I don't care that he's dead. Every solo laner, Tolly's literally nodding his head right now. That's your job as a solo laner.
But unfortunately, eUnited couldn't steal the objective, so trading out 1 for 1. A longer respawn timer for Benji, a difference of 25 seconds before Yannick comes up. That could be a power play for Trifecta.
Right there, Collis was so low. IceIceBaby was 2 shots away from death. Benji walks in 1 versus 4. Listen, you're not going to get the variety highlight reel that we saw in week number 1 or 2. But as I said, Tully, I mean, that's your job on the team.
You got to be able to zone. And honestly, he might have even been able to get out if it was not for Wowy and his pesky stinger. At the end of the day, crippling Arthur, shutting him down from a couple of his mobility movements. So at 10-4, with 70,000 gold in the lead, compared to eUnited's 64,000, I wouldn't be surprised if a Fire Giant was started soon.
And that pesky stinger can be an issue sometimes.
Very well could be,
You gotta watch out for it. Fire Giant being looked at, 27 minutes, so it's the EFG, the Enhanced Fire Giant. Pyro, easily taken. It took teams way too long to stop dying to Pyromancer, I think. Meaning, not die to the damage that it deals, but meaning fight over it.
Okay.
It's 100 gold,
Oh,
dude.
sure, yeah.
And teams, when we first introduced, because Portal Demon was a big deal, I think, and when we first changed it out to Pyromancer, teams were like diving to contest. I'm like, homie, it's 100 gold. Let it go. Just let it go. Now teams finally relinquishing it.
It's all about the reps in the gym, right? Like, it's all about respecting your opposition to a point, because there's such a thing as overestimating yourself and also underestimating your opposition.
Sure.
So it could come down to those two factors.
Benji getting ran on, but here comes IceIceBaby, who's perfectly made for this. Ducky takes to the skies, and ult for ult trade, no big deal. Right side by the Fire Giant. Just a little bit of a dance. Collis running away from the new minions. Haha. He's so short. The Fafnir? He's very short.
Very factual.
He's a small guy.
This Raijin is very wide. Another fact. Yeah, with his drums, look how wide he is compared to Vetium that's playing the ROM.
Oh well, the player model. Yeah, I mean he's got his quads out there. So he's fun. You ever play those drums? The quads?
No.
They really hurt your back. Really hurt your back. They're pretty heavy.
You can't have that.
Trifecta. Trying to find a spot here. Left side looks like the focus. Serket just farming up here, and so as we approach the 30-minute mark, Anatoly, I think Trifecta are looking for the full reset. Just clear the wave, buy some items. See the Void Stone finished off here by Eonic. I really like the build coming out from Weekend, and I'm going to focus on this one. So you got Speed Boots to rotate around the map, and then you've got Brawler's Beatstick to stop some of the damage because he's ganking Benji all the time. The ultimate's going to help with that, but so will the basics. And then just kind of defensive. And the Masamune and the Blackthorn Hammer, I think, are really what make me like it. 50 power still on Masamune, but you're getting a little bit of defensive option as well. I think that's a great look for Serket.
And it's also the movement speed that you're really looking at from Masamune in the Katana tree. And the cooldown reduction goes a long way for Serket. Some Serkets will opt for Crusher potentially for that penetration and damage, but we can also worry about a little bit of the healing. He needs to rely on more than just Last Breath specifically, so the Brawler Speed Stick is going to go a long way once that cooldown has been consumed. And speaking of more anti-healing, Lasbra with Divine Ruin on top of it, just now finishing off his rod up to Hootie, a huge power spike play already with a Soul Jump for this mid-new wad that's been doing quite a considerable amount of damage, knowing that she just hit level 20 recently. Her damage is going to get really high in the game, sitting about 3rd in the total of the game. But left a little bit alone there on the left side. Could get exploited.
Just for now. Just for now. Lasbra in trouble. There's IceIceBaby picking that one up. Lasbra, no ultimate. Has the ultimate. Decided not to use it.
So he Aegis, and then by the time he was using the ultimate, he just died too quickly.
The warm-up time a little bit too much there. Eonic in trouble. He's going to get hit by everything in the book. Here comes the United jumping forward. Eonic still finds the stun, and the support will get out of there. Trifecta defending under their tier 2 tower here in dual lane. Vetium's going to start the Oni Fury while Weaken pushes on the right-hand side. The Oni Fury right now I think is totally fine. You can just clear one wave each, not a big deal. if I'm trading Oni Fury for tier 2 tower, I'm happy, but I'm not getting tier 2 tower at all as Benji makes a nice rotation with the teleport and finds himself in the short side one more time. Trifecta still lead here, Tolly, 5,000, but eUnited doing everything they need to get back into it.
Oh, I totally agree with you here, F-Dot. If you give eUnited an inch, then they're going to take more than a mile if left unchecked. Getting this Oni Fury, even looking for more picks, almost finding a second one under that tier 2 on the left-hand side. They were considering getting the tower, but they settled for the easier confirmed objective. In the late game, despite Trifecta still having a lead, you're allowing eUnited to get back into the late game. IceIceBaby was generally shut down from the get-go with Eonic's rotation, but now he's at a point where he's literally left-clicking Lasbra before he gets into the fire shards.
And I think that's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. Trifecta don't have a large enough lead to really just walk up the lane. They certainly don't have a large enough lead to just go for the fire giant. We've seen a number of teams throw games or just lose games. I don't even want to say throw, but just lose games going off that fire giant. It's a 5,000 gold lead at the biggest situation, so you kind of are forced to keep playing the game. And at the end of the day, Bakasura can be 0-5. When he gets the items, he's going to hurt you.
A very opportunistic jungler is IceIceBaby. So whenever somebody like Lasbra playing the Nuwa is left out of position, he's knowing the timing window that he has to find these kills. The eUnited actually just stealing that with a Callous Hammer, it looks like. It's not that impactful, but it is very funny to just see because it's such a low damaging ability.
And it's low, again, low investment. You were talking about Bakasura being able to just left-click players. Well, what does he do against the Phoenix? Weekend going to try and stop him. Halfway down already. There's the blink forward, a taunt, a zigzag, and an ultimate. IceIceBaby will get chased out. Last breath, taking it down. One more shot will do it. He ults his own minion. He eats the minion that he spawns.
Movement speed. He wanted the movement speed to get out of there faster. Eonic takes out Benji, but not until Ducky gets responded.
Vetium with a nice long-range shot. Good positioning from Connor as always. Trifecta 3-player strong here, looking for BigManTingz. Beads, ages, everything in the book being used. IceIceBaby here, we can play it safe using the distance. Jump down. IceIce has no relics. IceIce has no buttons. He's got minions. There's a taunt. There's a zigzag. And Weekend, oh man. Weekend's got to feel good about that. I think he played that. I think Weekend played that really well.
He does, and there was two factors that allowed Weekend to make that play. Talaria boots and speed buff.
Yeah.
IceIceBaby not having either of those two available to him. He actually just sold his boots after dying. Curious as to what his 6th item is going to be.
Deathbringer.
You think so?
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm expecting
Aussie?
Oboe. Aussie wouldn't be bad. Maybe Ikavol. Like, those are probably 3 go-to items for Bakasura as a 6th item.
Aussie and Ikaval recently introduced in patch 0.4, I believe, and has been very interesting for sure.
I'm not sure about Ikaval because, I mean, like, how often are you really going to be hitting Wowy to reduce his attack speed?
Exactly. If there was a Kali in the jungle, I think I would say Ikaval. We're going to see the Ikaval anyway.
It does get a lot of power, though. Like, you're able to really attack fast.
Yeah.
With Bakasura during Regurgitate and Butcher Blade. So getting that extra, 70, 75 power after getting those 3 stacks, it's nothing to scoff at. So I'm really liking this pickup at the end of the day, even if you're not truly utilizing that -% attack speed.
Yeah, you get 30% kind of stolen, but you also get 45 extra power on top of the 30. So 70 power ain't nothing to shake a stick at. Trifecta looking for the fire giant. They'll walk away, and I think this is more of a bait than anything else. eUnited on the top and the bottom. Good positioning from eUnited, and Eonic's just going to be deleted like that. That's a big play. eUnited should push forward and look for the capitalization. Wicked, where did he come from? Combines with the Duckman. A double kill for the solo laner. Collis is going to go down. Transform. Stinger. See you later. Lasbra number 15. Tolly.
I think this could be a devastating push now.
I don't know.
I don't know if they're going to end the game off of this. Probably not. Unless they can kill Benji somehow, some way. Lasbra around the corner. Needs to find a good stun.
That's it. The shred. Oh, boy. There's the blink forward from Ducky. And that's that. 4 players dead for eUnited. BigManTingz is up in 30 seconds. And there is an IceIceBaby here with an ultimate in a little bit, so he should be able to kind of punish if they go too crazy. Ultimate's still about 15 seconds off. Not going to be able to just jump on where. Oh, never mind. The bat saw him.
He's just kind of buying his time. He's kind of forcing Trifecta to make this decision.
Well,
and it's a very easy one to make now.
When the ult comes up, he'll just be able to AoE kill.
Well, no, I thought this is going to be an actual contest. It's IceIceBaby and Vetium to defend.
Vetium's up. BigManTingz is up. 75% on the Titans so far. Wowy chased out by IceIceBaby. Kill number 8. The Titans at half HP and Trifecta being pushed out. Lasbra pushed out hard. She'll go back to base. IceIceBaby gets a double kill. And Trifecta try to end prematurely.
Oof.
I did not like that call. And it didn't go their way.
Well, if we take a look at the Titan health, it's sitting at about, what, 40, 50% health. It was close, but what do you say, Tom, about being close? It only counts in...
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, my friend.
Yeah, so not close enough. And that's going to give eUnited now the Fire Giant. And the push is just going to be that much stronger. I think that was a great middle Phoenix call. Totally great. You're not worried about IceIceBaby in the backhand side with or without ultimate because it's only IceIceBaby. You just finished off killing Benji. You don't have to worry about Vetium or BigManTingz during the middle Phoenix, but you do have to worry about them for the Titan. So even if you don't get the Titan, you have to worry about the Astral Barrage damage that's going to be chasing you down, the long-range artillery shots from this Raijin, and Trifecta, they only had one speed in that siege, and that was go.
Man. It's tough, too, because I think that inexperience is ultimately Trifecta's kind of biggest hurdle to overcome. Ducky never really been in the winning position. Lasbra relatively new to the league. Eonic, it's been half a decade since he's been in a winning position, quite literally. Wowy never been in a winning position. Weekend just flashes in the pan, right? Weekend is that veteran leadership. That's why he's on the squad. But Trifecta, inexperience makes them go ahead and push for the win instead of just the Phoenix. And I think that inexperience will this is how you punish an inexperienced team, by doing what eUnited are doing now.
A little over-eager to go for the end, because when you go for the end, and instead of going for the guaranteed Fire Giant, it's almost as if somebody is not confident that they can't win later in the game.
And that's kind of where I'm coming from with the inexperience, where it's like, quick, we've tricked them. Let's do it, boys. And if they had the experience, that inexperience and confidence are not always one and one, but it's very often left hand, right hand. As you experience more, you become more confident in your ability to either deal with adversity or just be better than the situation at hand. And Trifecta right there, like you said, a little bit of vulnerability by way of insecurity, I think.
At least they all went for it, right? Like, I'm glad to see that everybody went for the play.
That is the,
You win as a team, you lose as a team, regardless of what happens at the end of this game. I'm sure they're going to looking back at that given moment.
Die as a team.
Yes, that happens as well. Rocky references. Rocky 2?
That's not what he says. No, the Rocky reference would be, if he dies, he dies.
Yeah, but I thought that's where you were going with.
No, I was just, die as a team, very like Chernoboggy.
Oh, okay.
I'm not even saying words. Just
Yeah.
Chernobog. Imagine if he was a Pokemon. eUnited pushing up on the left-hand side. Trifecta here playing D.
Bakasura would be the scariest Pokemon by far.
Baka, baka, baka.
Okay, maybe the cutest one, actually, now that I think about it.
The defensive composition from Trifecta is pretty cute as well. I think Eonic has large area denial. Lasbra could just get out of jail. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll take that back. Eonic, I think, is one of the only tools that Trifecta have defensively. Everybody else is kind of single target, and that might be an issue.
I like this 3-2 split out of eUnited. Normally we see 4-1 where we're keeping the two junglers at bay in the mid lane, but not this time around. They want to see how they can isolate this solo jungle side and keep the 3v3, almost like we're having a little joust on the left side of the map.
Well, Ducky gonna wish he had a horse to get on out. Takes to the sky. Benji half HP, focused by the Phoenix. Left side, the Phoenix is not in too much trouble. Vetium isolated, but Trifecta have been making their shifts really nicely. Watching this team go from left Phoenix to mid Phoenix back to left Phoenix, because that was the game plan from eUnited. It was a sleight of hand play, shift over to the right, invest everything. Either we get the mid lane Phoenix or we can okey doke by keeping Wowy on the left side. Trifecta responded to that exactly the way they need to. Their Phoenixes are healthy as hell.
It's a great hold, and they only had to use the beads and the ultimate from Lasbra and the ultimate out of Ducky, whereas eUnited now, they don't have beads Aegis for Vetium, no Aegis on top of BigManTingz. That's a scary thought as a backline carry when you don't have your defensive relics. And in that last siege, you could tell Vetium was very hesitant about using that beads until he heard the animation sounds coming from the Nuwa after the terror stun. He's like, all right, well, if I don't beads now, I'm guaranteed dead. To right. So I like the respect that he gives to this late game Nuwa that's already now at the top of the player damage charts with this ultimate damage.
42 minutes into this one, another long one for your afternoon. 16-10, Trifecta and eUnited all tied up. What time is it? Well, it's 4:21 here local time, and we're certainly getting into the later parts of the day. Just game number 1 here for Trifecta eUnited. Earlier today, Dignitas took on Pittsburgh Knights. It was a hell of a set, too, Toli. Long games. Game number 2 was an hour long.
But then game number 3, not so long.
Game number 4, even quicker. A nice sort of mental shift there coming out from the Dignitas boys to take that one 3-1. Trifecta versus eUnited, though. This first game certainly has what it takes to go long.
I love the mind games between junglers
It's
in
so
general. IceIceBaby, if there's no speed buff involved, can just chase out Weekend at the end of the day, because Weekend now sold his Talaria boots, so they're both on equivalent movement speed with the speed of Elixir. Before, Weekend would be able to outrun IceIceBaby, but not any longer.
Kala's controlled. Yannick on the dash out. But due to itemization, IceIceBaby probably a little bit faster. 10, 20, right? 20% movement speed? No? Okay.
He also has Winged Blade a little bit.
10. Yeah, okay. So Weekend and IceIce generally the same movement speed.
Well, you also have to take into account maybe IceIce has the Baka passive going for him. If he just killed a couple of minions, that
you brought that up when he ulted nothing and ate his own minion.
Yes.
The boost.
He was still last breath, so he wasn't getting a heal from it whatsoever. He's like, oh no, Weekend has speed buff and I don't. Well, if I big brain this, maybe I'll live. So that was a hot play just to get an extra couple % movement speed from one stack of your passive.
Not a bad look. Those are the things that separate us, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Those small plays, looking for the minuscule options to really shove your option through.
Also, in the last set, actually, when it was Deathwalker, I think he was the one playing the Achilles. And he was against the Bologna specifically. The Bologna Eagles rallied up and down to avoid the Fatal Strike.
Yeah.
But it could have been a kill if he hit on the Fatal Strike landing, right? So if he turned 180 and Eagles rallied forward to catch the stun, that would have been pretty epic.
Well, Benji's going to catch the Ducky. Some crits in the back line. Weekend not going to come in. Eonic relatively low, 25%. There's the runaway. Vetium low. Benji half. BigManTingz low. Weekend can't confirm, and BigManTingz will jump forward, but Weekend takes care of business. Tell me what happened there.
He knew that he was dead to last breath anyway.
Okay.
He was still, the dots were taking on him. The Aegis was not long enough to negate the damage. So
I didn't see the ult.
He's
that
like,
makes
you
sense.
know what? I'm going to Thunder Crash this. So trading out 1 for 1. And eUnited, they should be able to get their second Fire Giant.
They're going to look for it for sure. Wowy and Ducky and Lasbra all here. And it's just Benji to play D. IceIceBaby going to make the long-range flank. There's the blink on the back line. Lasbra last 4 basics. Wowy just 1 other. There's IceIce with the double kill. Nice job for the Bakasura. PS Vetium shots from the sky as well. There's a blink forward. Benji's going to catch Eonic. That's a tank, though. Going to take a little bit more than that. And here's a little bit more. Couple of damages brings him down to 40. Beads are good. Vetium, last hit. And this push might be all good, Toli.
And this is the difference because of the timing response. It's 13 seconds before Weekend comes up, and it's only Ducky. A Circuit and a Camazotz against 4 healthy eUnited members with or without Fire Giant. It's not looking good for Trifecta.
And so I was talking about the inexperience kind of opening this win up for eUnited. Because Trifecta, inexperienced to push, wind up getting punished for their push onto the Titan. And eUnited do not get punished. They take the Titan. Game number 1 goes to eUnited. As I was talking about inexperience, I'm concerned for Trifecta after this game. It is very important for them to not get too down on themselves and
Yes.
realize that, you know, some things went wrong and they have to be fixed, but that was largely Trifecta's game for the majority of the time in the Battleground.
There were so many signs of life in the early, the mid game, even the late game, but that one middle Phoenix Siege into the Titan room was overzealous, unnecessary. Fire Giant was up, ready, and willing to be taken from Trifecta. So got to reflect back upon that a little bit. Whoever made that call, it doesn't matter who made the call. It's good that they all listened to the call. But
Exactly.
as long as they can take that mistake, learn from it, and apply it in this next game, in this long best of 5 set. So far, most games have been that long, and I'm expecting Trifecta to be able to bounce back mentally with veterans such as Weekend and Eonic.
I mean, there's plenty of time to really bounce back and look for what you can find after the fact.
Yeah.
Like you said, long set that the players have to really go through. So as we watch this one, really what I want to see from Trifecta is to internalize what went right in that early game. You know, we saw some ganks on the right side. We saw some dealing with King Arthur. We saw some strong play out of Eonic setting up and Weekend in the jungle. We need more. Trifecta down one game. Let's bring it down on the desk with Taco and Finch.
Be happy to, Tom. A bit of a heartbreaking loss there if you're a Trifecta fan. That was a game that was within their grasp, but eUnited bent without breaking, and they're able to close that game out in the end. Game number 1, almost 50 minutes on the board. Taco, what did you see go wrong for Trifecta?
I think it just comes down to that initial middle lane push. They get the Phoenix, and it looks as though they're about to close out the match, but Vetium just revives, and he just throws himself forward, and I think that was just the respawn timers. It probably should have been a reset from Trifecta in that instance.
You think they shouldn't have gone for like the Titan end there?
I think it was a little bit too close to call, but hindsight's always going to be 2020. I think that Trifecta would probably agree with me on that one as well. I can totally understand how the team would get caught up in the moment and look to try and close things out, but just a little bit too much DPS at that point in time from eUnited's carries that it prevented Trifecta from sealing the deal there. And after that, it just felt like the late game of eUnited that they had drafted for to begin with started to play more and more of a factor.
That's right, and really I think Tings had a lot to do with it. A ton of damage was coming out from this Raijin, but Trifecta still had a couple of really good fights. I think the problem is that they couldn't quite close out any of those kills, which is hard to believe when you've got Lasbra on a new wall. The fire charge is so good for that, but it just felt like they were a little bit too short in some of their damage.
Well, also Benji on the King Arthur late game,
Yes.
this is part of the
That's
reason
scary.
why it's not necessarily that, you know, who's dealing the most player damage in these engagements, but he's just surviving. And Weekend found some nice trades as far as one-for-ones were concerned, but ultimately there was no one to really kind of close the cap on Vetium. And Vetium being able to free cast, I think Collis did a perfect job in handling his carry, making sure that no one was really able to pressure out that ROM. IceIceBaby as well. Love the way that he started infiltrating the back line and forcing the pressure to kind of be alleviated from around that Fire Giant pit when Trifecta probably were still in favor of the match, because by going over to the left side, it forces somebody to respond there from Trifecta, and then if you're staggering the 4-for-4, it's difficult because King Arthur is just going to live.
Yeah, King Arthur lived a little bit too long. I think we were talking about it, right? Fortunately, it wasn't quite the same impact we sometimes see for King Arthur's. I don't think it was a death sentence in this game that King Arthur made it through by any means, and I'm actually very impressed. They've kind of, I think Ducky's had to play against King Arthur a lot. It feels like Trifecta are willing to let that pick through, and he's had some rough times, but I don't think this was the case. He got a good amount of help over there. The Nuwa helped some too, and I think he actually held his own. Just unfortunately, when they couldn't close out in mid, now this is a new team stuck in a difficult late-game situation up against eUnited, and it was just hard for them to close it out.
Fortunately, though, for Trifecta, that was only game 1 of a possible 5 still to come. And
Right.
I think that when you take losses like that as a player, at least, and I'm looking at it from like the way that I would probably picture it as a player, it definitely sucks, and it does hurt a little bit, but
Right.
I don't think that set momentum is necessarily guaranteed to go the way of eUnited, because if I'm Trifecta, you're thinking back, the first 30 minutes of that game was really good for the team. I think as a whole, they seemed pretty clean alongside of, or inside of those Gold Fury engagements. There was a lot of really smart pressurings by Weekend where he wasn't even necessarily looking for the 1v1 pick necessarily, but he just wanted to pull those relics. I think that Ducky and Weekend did an excellent job working hand in hand to get a lot of those relics away from BigManTingz, and arguably were also huge contributing factors because BigManTingz having to be forced into such a passive position because his relics were constantly on cooldown definitely gave Trifecta a lot of pressure along or inside of the map.
I think so too, and I think that Weekend had a good game on this circuit. I liked what we saw from him. I like what we saw from Eonic as well on the Terra. There were maybe a couple times where I think he was a little bit out of position. He ended up getting punished for it, but for the most part, I thought that he had a good game too. So Trifecta have plenty to build on, I would say, going into game 2.